Happy Jason Voorhees Day. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they were having a banger in Green Bay until the finish, where the Usos and Solo Sikoa, who supposedly were not on the show tonight, according to Paul Heyman, none of the members of the Bloodline were there. They came out, they interfered in the main event. This will play into the Bloodline story heading into next week's show. And the look of concern on Sami Zayn's face at the end of this as he watched his Bloodline brothers beating down Kevin Owens, that too will play into the Bloodline story on television next week. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns are going to have a contract signing, but that is next Friday. And the main event here tonight is what carried an otherwise decent episode of SmackDown. Decent is really the best word I can use to describe it. It was very similar to last week's show, where the Bloodline carried SmackDown last week. If you took all of the Bloodline stuff out of the show that we saw last Friday, there wasn't much there. SmackDown sucked. Now, this show I thought was a little bit better than last week's show, but still, you take out this main event, there just isn't a whole lot going on SmackDown outside of the Bloodline stuff to get you excited for the Royal Rumble. And we only have a few weeks left. Hopefully things will start to pick up. We had Gunther and Braun Strowman for the Intercontinental title. They opened the show tonight. Thank God we did not have a title change. I was getting a little worried there, but Gunther is still the Intercontinental Champion. He has also declared himself for the Royal Rumble match. In fact, two big names declared themselves for the Rumble tonight. One man who actually won the Royal Rumble many years ago, Rey Mysterio. He also declared, and Gunther will be in there as well, which begs the question, will we see an introduction between Gunther and Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble? We'll have to wait and see. We also learned that there will be the start of a tag team tournament next Friday on SmackDown, with the winners getting a shot at the SmackDown tag team titles. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, who have been batting around names for their team on social media. I believe they are calling themselves the Banger Bros. Actually, what they've been trying to decide is what their mode of transportation should be. I think they've settled on a bus. I believe they're going to have a bang bus. So they are the Banger Bros, and they are going to be taking on the Viking Raiders next week. Hopefully it's just a wrestling match and nothing more than that, but they are calling themselves the Banger Bros. So that will be a first-round match next Friday in this tag team tournament. Now, we had tag team turmoil on Raw Monday night, right? The Judgment Day #1 contenders for the Raw tag team titles. Now we have #1 contenders for the SmackDown tag team titles. Looks like there's a chance that they may be splitting off these titles soon. Kind of odd timing, given how close we are to WrestleMania, that they would be teasing the idea of this, because up to this point, it's been all undisputed tag team title matches. So all of a sudden, we're very close to WrestleMania, and they're giving you the impression that they might possibly be splitting off the titles. I'll give you my thoughts on that in a little bit as well. So we'll get into all of that, but first, we have news. There was a talent meeting held backstage earlier this afternoon before SmackDown. I feel like every week there's an all-staff meeting, employee meeting, talent meeting. Tonight, it was a talent meeting backstage with Triple H leading the charge. Triple H was not the only one who spoke at this talent meeting. Kevin Dunn spoke at this talent meeting as well. But Triple H led the talent meeting, and he conveyed two very important things to the talent backstage tonight. This comes according to PW Insider and Fightful and a whole horse of sources here. There was a horse in the back as well. Two things were conveyed at this meeting. Number one, according to Triple H, is that Vince McMahon's involvement with the company is to spearhead the search for a potential buyer, for a sale, and nothing more. So he wanted to clarify that is the only reason why Vince McMahon, for the time being, is back in WWE. That's number one. The other thing he conveyed is that none of this will affect the current creative team or creative process in WWE. But, and this is a big but that can always change. Those are the key words. Card subject to change, same thing. That can always change. Here, I'll fix it for it. It's not that could always change, that will change. It's only a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. So those are the 2 points that Triple H conveyed to the roster. And as I read that, I thought to myself, if this plays out the way that the employee meeting played out 1 week ago today, by the way, they had an employee meeting at the Tower in Stamford. If this plays out the way that did, where Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon told the entire team there that the management team is not going to change, nothing is going to change as far as the management team is concerned. If this goes the same way that did, then I expect to be doing a breaking news video live on the channel by midweek talking about Triple H's resignation from WWE. Now, I said that Fightful and PW Insider and all these different websites had different reports about this meeting. Per Fightful, Triple H did admit, and this is also a very key point, Triple H did admit during this meeting that maybe he and Vince McMahon have conversations about creative, but that Vince defers the final say to him. Talents have every reason to be afraid. We've been talking about this for a while, and we've been reading these reports that a lot of the talent is very concerned about what's going on right now in WWE. And what happened earlier in the week was very unfair to the talent when everybody was running rampant on social media talking about the fact that WWE was sold to the Saudis. The Saudi Crown Prince now owns WWE. And you had talent that was backstage at NXT, and this was during New Year's Evil, who were said to be depressed. The mood backstage at the Performance Center and the morale was said to be so far down because they had no idea what was going on, and some of them believed the story to be true. They didn't know what was true and what wasn't. And I would imagine there were a lot of other people on the main roster, and you can probably imagine a lot of the female stars. You can imagine maybe somebody like Sami Zayn is hearing all of this. What must be going through their heads? And again, it ended up not being true for now. It ended up not being true. So it has been a very stressful week. If you are talent in WWE, you work for this company, you'd like to know what the fuck is going on here. Right now, this guy is my boss. Is the old man coming back? Are the Saudis buying the company? What does that mean for the future of the company? Right? Nobody knew anything. But they have a reason to be concerned. The moment that Vince McMahon muscled his way back into the board of directors, they should have been very afraid. All these people that Triple H brought back and these people that Triple H is pushing right now, have every reason to be concerned. It doesn't matter what Triple H is saying at the meeting. What Triple H says backstage tonight, he may honestly believe, and that may be the truth here on Friday the 13th. That may be the God's honest truth. But that does not mean that is going to be the case a month from now. That does not mean that is going to be the case when WrestleMania rolls around. That does not mean that that's going to be the case next week, let alone at the end of the month. They have every reason to be concerned and to be very skeptical about what these people are telling them. And you have every reason to be concerned hearing that Triple H is talking about how, yeah, I have conversations with Vince about creative, but he defers to me. He lets me do my own thing. Well, I mean, look, we knew that this was probably happening, right? Here's the thing with Vince McMahon. He can't let go. He's been doing this for 40 years. He's been in control. He's a control freak, right? And he loves it. He's been doing it for so long. It's all he's ever known. The man is 77 years old. He doesn't know any other way. It's hard for him to pull himself away. So the fact that he is even in the slightest involved potentially in the creative process, yes, you have to imagine that if given the opportunity at some point, he will find a way to get back in. He will find a way to take back over again. He will find a way to gain influence when it comes to creative in this company. Just because he doesn't have it now does not mean that he will not have it very soon. So I can understand Triple H wanting to organize this meeting and put everybody's fears to rest and let them know what's going on. I think that, frankly, keeping your roster updated when all of this news is going around and you don't know what's up and what's down, what's left and what's right, they probably should do a better job, frankly, of keeping their talent informed of what's going on. But yes, they have very good reason, I would say, to be concerned right now. Now, Fightful also reported that Kevin Dunn spoke at the meeting. He said that he had worked for Vince McMahon for 40 years, and since coming back, Vince has not said a peep to him about anything related to making changes or creative or anything like that. And I laughed when I read that because I just thought to myself, here he is going to the roster and saying, ever since he's been back, Vince hasn't said anything to me about wanting to make changes. The man has been back for not even a full fucking week. Give it time. Give it time. And I guarantee you those stories will change. I wouldn't trust anything Kevin Dunn has to say anyway. So that's the backstage update from SmackDown. I frankly doubt that very many people in that company, if they already had concerns, are now living carefree. It's going to be a very bumpy ride, I think, in WWE going forward. This is your Friday the 13th SmackDown review for January 13th, 2023. I am the Solomonster. Please hit that subscribe button if you are not already subbed to the channel. Drop a super chat. I will be reading them a little bit later on. I already see a whole bunch of them here on my sidebar. I thank you for that. We'll get to those. And hit the like button. If we can get 350 likes during the live stream portion here of this video here tonight, we will do Be the Booker a little bit later on. And I also want to thank our sponsor for tonight. And I also hope that you guys will find it in you to show them some love as well. Today's review is sponsored by Magic Spoon. It is cereal reinvented the way that you remember it when you used to be sitting in front of the TV watching those Saturday morning cartoons. With a great taste, more protein, and less sugar. You know, as someone who has been trying to cut down on carbs and sugar and frankly doesn't feel like eating eggs every single day, Magic Spoon has been a great addition to my breakfast routine. Magic Spoon cereals have 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving. Honey Nut has 1 gram of sugar and only 140 calories per serving. Magic Spoon cereal bars are also very good. Have 1 gram of sugar, 10 grams of protein, 4 net grams of carbs, and only 130 calories per bar. They're also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. And it works for me because, and I don't know if you're like this, if you're like me, it works for me because I like being able to eat something quick in the morning so I can get on with my day. You know, I'm a busybody. I got to keep moving. I don't like wasting time, especially in the morning. You know, I got things to do. I got a whole day ahead of me. So I like the fact that this is quick and easy. It's delicious, it's quick, it's easy, we get it out of the way. That's one of the things I like the most about it. You don't have to use the stove. You don't have to use the microwave. All you need is a bowl and a spoon. Doesn't get any easier than that. Visit the link below. There it is. Boom. And use my code Solomonster for $5 off your very own variety box. And choose from Magic Spoon's best-selling flavors like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, and maple waffle. Plus other awesome flavors, including blueberry muffin and cinnamon roll. Blueberry muffin, very good. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product that it is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. It is a no-lose situation for you. So click the link below and use the code Solomonster for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/Solomonster to save yourself $5 off your order today. Also, for my Canadian and my British fans, Magic Spoon also ships to Canada and the UK. Oh, happy day. So that's magicspoon.com/Solomonster. Go there, get your cereal, and you can thank me later. Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. And with that, let's get into this SmackDown show here tonight. I thank the fine folks at Magic Spoon. SmackDown opened with the Intercontinental Championship on the line, with GUNTHER defending his title against Braun Strowman. Michael Cole made mention, I do want to mention this, I thought this was a very nice thing. He made mention of the fact that Strowman was wearing special wrestling boots tonight, which were made in conjunction with the Green Bay Packers. They were in Green Bay tonight in honor of an 8-year-old boy who was killed in that whole tragedy, the Waukesha parade tragedy from a couple of years ago, where some maniac, some fucking lunatic, drove through a Christmas parade and killed 6 people. So he was rocking special boots tonight, which I believe are going to be auctioned off. I believe. So I thought that was a very nice thing. So the question here, storyline question, coming into this match here tonight. Shout out, by the way, to Samuel Wise, who is a very wise man indeed, for becoming a channel member. A Sound Off legend, our top tier, no less. So Samuel, you are wise indeed. Thank you, Samuel. So the question coming into this match was, what condition would Strowman's shoulder be in? Gunther and Imperium damaged the shoulder a couple of weeks ago, so that was the story coming into this match. Strowman sent Gunther out to the floor early on. So we were only minutes into this show tonight. And he sends Gunther out to the floor, and he gives the signal. Yes, Braun Strowman gives the signal. We had an early departure tonight, ladies and gentlemen. An early departure for the Strowman Express. Out to the floor he goes, and he circles around the ring, and Braun Strowman, he body checks, or shoulder blocked, whatever terminology you want to use. He ran down Walter, and the idea was that he was going to knock him over the announce desk, and really what happened was he kind of knocked him into the side of the desk, and then Gunther went to the floor. Braun stood up on top of the announce desk, he ripped his shirt off, and they cut to the first commercial break. When they came back, yes, choo-choo indeed, the clown is here, everybody. So when they came back, Gunther was in control. He was working over Strowman's bad arm, and Strowman gave him a back body drop. Gunther acted like he hurt his knee, because he did. He kind of landed on his knee on the back body drop, and so he was selling it like he was hurt. And so that gave him the chance to pull in the referee, Jessica Carr, while she was distracted and Strowman was in the corner on the other side of the ring. Here comes Vinci and Kaiser, and they jump up on the apron. They try to attack Braun. Braun fought them both off, and then he managed to hit the power slam on Gunther, but he couldn't capitalize right away. It took him a few extra seconds. Eventually, he was able to crawl over and make the cover, and Gunther kicked out at 2.5, and at that point, they went right to another ad break, which was kind of odd. So we had the first commercial, come back, 2 minutes, back to another commercial. I do have to mention this. Gunther was noticeably looking up at the referee while he was laying on his back and being pinned. Not the first time I've seen him do this before, and he's not the only one who's guilty of this, but I've noticed him do it a whole bunch of times, where he's laying there, clearly looking at the referee, and waiting until the very last possible second, and then kicks it. It's one of my pet peeves. I wish that they at least wouldn't shoot that. Maybe use a different camera angle. But yes, that was unfortunately something that he did yet again here in this match. So they come back. Both men were trading chops. Strowman caught Gunther coming off the ropes with a spine buster. He got another near fall out of it. Gunther recovered, got a lariat, but Strowman did not go down. He came back with one of his own. Gunther did go down. Gunther came back. Finally, he did take Strowman down with a clothesline. He went up top, and we got Flying Walter off the top rope with a giant splash. He made the cover. Strowman kicked out. So the champion again headed up top. This time Strowman, though, met him up there. And he set up for a superplex from the middle rope, but Gunther started wrenching on the damaged arm. And he slipped underneath Strowman, got him in a powerbomb position. And he powerbombed Braun Strowman from the middle rope and then stacked him and pinned him to retain the Intercontinental title. Thank God he retained the Intercontinental title. The way that Strowman came, if you go back and watch this, the way that Strowman came down for the powerbomb, I saw something tonight that I don't think I've ever seen before. Walter went to powerbomb him, and Braun Strowman basically stood up on his feet. He basically landed first on his feet and then went down and took the powerbomb. I've never seen that before. I've never seen somebody powerbomb from the ropes where they first land on their feet because he's, what is he, 6'8"? Probably. He's a big guy. And then takes the move. So that did not look good. It looked like they got their lines crossed up there on the finish. This was a solid, if unspectacular, match. Nothing wrong with it. Gunther gave Strowman the best possible match that you're going to see him have. And it gave Gunther a rare opponent that was bigger than him to go in there and beat and brag about. So for him, for Gunther, it was a good thing. It would have been ridiculous to take the title off him, so I'm very happy they did not do that. And shout out to Taylor Cannon, who has renewed his Sound of Legend membership for 6 straight months. Taylor, you have now been a Sound Off channel member for as long as, I believe, Jinder Mahal was WWE. Actually, no, I'm not Jinder Mahal. Actually, you know what? Yes, I was correct the first time. I was going to say Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston was also WWE champion for 6 months. Jinder Mahal was champion for 6 months. Ironically, Kofi Kingston and Jinder Mahal, the 2 former WWE champions, are now also part of the NXT roster. But you have now been a channel member for as long as Jinder Mahal was WWE champion. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Anyway, we got an extended video package recapping all of the recent events involving Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn, which, of course, sets the stage for tonight's main event between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. When it was over, we saw Sami live in the arena backstage. He was knocking on the Bloodline locker room door, and the door opens, and out comes Paul Heyman. And Sami said that he was here to see the guys, and Heyman told him, well, there's nobody else here. It's just me. He said tonight, out of love, the tribal chief wants him to beat KO all by himself. And Sami asked Paul to call or text Roman just to let him know that he made the right call. He said that he's going to solve this problem tonight. And Sami said that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. And I love how Heyman smiles at him lovingly, right? Shmooly! He smiles at him, and the moment that Sami Zayn walks off, Heyman just has this disgusted look on his face. Every single time we see the two of them in a backstage segment. I love it. Let's go. All right, get out of here. Strowman thought he was going to hang out on screen with us here for the rest of the stream. No. You don't think I'm going to give TV time out to just anybody here. Get to the back. Hit the showers. So back live, Rey Mysterio was on his way to the ring for a promo. He's always said that the holidays are special to him. Really? Has he always said that? When has he ever said that? That's the first thing he said here in this promo. I've always said how special the holidays are to me. I've never heard him say that before. He said that he cherishes the time that he can spend with his family, especially at Christmas. But as we know, he didn't have a very Merry Christmas. He said that his son Dominic tried to ruin things. And now he's walking around like he's a thug, like he's some kind of hardened criminal. Hey, Dom has done hard time. All right, this guy has done hard time. He has seen some shit. So let's cut the kid some slack, all right? He's got the teardrop Sharpie tattoo on his face. He's got the bandana. Who knows what they did to him behind bars? You know the stories of what goes on behind bars there. Who knows? You know, he's probably in the shower one night. The bar of soap dropped. I mean, you don't want to know the rest. He doesn't want to talk about it either. He was traumatized by that. I think Ray has to show some more respect for the ordeal that his son went through. Thanks to him and his wife calling the cops on their own flesh and blood. He says, as a father, that breaks his heart. He says, as a man, well, he's pretty fed up. And then there was an edit here. He said something else after this. And there was an edit. And whatever he said, we couldn't hear it. But when they cut back to him, the people were cheering. And from what I can gather from social media, he said that he was fed up with Dominic's bullshit. That's what he said in the arena. Of course, we can't hear that on Fox, right? The picture of class, Fox Network. So they muted and edited the whole thing out, but that's what he said. He said that he came to SmackDown for a fresh start, and he's not going to let Dominic provoke him, and he knows what he needs to do to get back on track, which is not only entering, but also winning the Royal Rumble match. Well, he's not going to be very happy, I think, when Dominic eliminates him from the Royal Rumble match. So we heard Karrion Kross's music play. Karrion Kross comes down to the ring with Scarlett. He pointed out that Ray won the Royal Rumble 17 years ago. Let that sink in, by the way. Rey Mysterio, where were you when Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble in 2006? 17 years have gone by since then. It's crazy. He said that he's sure it was a special moment for Ray, and especially for his son Dominic. His father to him was a real-life superhero, right? He goes out, wins the big one. And then he caught himself and he said, oh, that's right. He says, you don't really know if that was a special moment for Dominic because you were never really there for him as a father now, were you? He said that he was talking to Scarlett earlier today and he was wondering, you know, at the end of the day, he wanted to know. He said, who do you hate more? Your son for not growing up to be just like you? Or yourself for failing to raise your son to be just like you? Who do you blame? Ray didn't like that. He heard enough. He attacked Kross. He got Kross in the ropes for the 619, but when he hit the ropes, Scarlett tried to trip him up. And when he turned around, Kross got him in the cross jacket. He put him out with the choke. They dimmed the lights. We got the red lights. We got the Kane red light, the Fiend red light. And Scarlett held up a tarot card, and that was the end of the segment. You could hear a couple of fans in the crowd here during this segment heckling Kross. It was so quiet because nobody cared about his promo. So it was so silent that they decided to start heckling him. I'm still waiting for him to have that big moment. I said a few weeks ago, there's nobody better, I think, for him to be programmed with to help give him that big moment in that big match than Rey Mysterio. So for his sake, I hope it happens. They're going to have their match in 2 weeks. On SmackDown. That is the night before the Royal Rumble. The Rumble is on Saturday, and so that SmackDown right before the Rumble is when they're going to have their match. So we go backstage, and in the back, we had Emma, Maxine Dupree, and Liv Morgan. Maxine Dupree, she's very easy on the eyes. Maxine Dupree, and I hope Max doesn't mind me saying that, and Liv Morgan. And Emma told Liv that it wasn't very smart that Liv wanted to enter the Women's Royal Rumble match in the #1 spot. She said that was actually pretty stupid. Maxine said that it was the worst idea that she had ever heard in her life, and she said that Liv doesn't stand much of a chance. Raquel Rodriguez walked into the shot. She agreed with them, and she said that somebody of her size, that being Liv's size, because she's tiny, would have a better chance entering the Royal Rumble last. And she said that she's excited because this is her first Royal Rumble and she feels like she was built to win this. And so Liv said, for what it's worth, I got my palm read earlier today. And she showed Raquel, she says, you see this line right here? And then she goes, boom! Slaps her right across, hard too, slaps her right across the face. I thought that was great. I actually thought that was great. The way they set that up, I thought was great. What did the 5 fingers say to the face? Boom, right across the face. And she smacked her, and Raquel didn't like that very much. Liv said that they should have a match tonight. Raquel got angry, and she said that she's sick and tired of everybody forgetting that she's the biggest and the strongest around, and then she went and accepted Liv's challenge. You know, Liv, the whole thing with Liv Morgan is that she's crazy. She's loco en la cabeza. That's her gimmick. So now she's going around smacking the biggest woman in the SmackDown Women's Division. Yes, that's right. That's right, Michael. Michael says Liv's Jersey side is coming out. That's right. So we had Tegan Nox taking on Xia Li. Got to start getting some of these women on TV if you want to establish them for the Royal Rumble match. You know, they're going to be in the same situation they were in a year ago, where they don't have enough women on that main roster to fill a 30-woman Royal Rumble match. So they're going to have to pick people out from NXT and/or have surprises from the past. They had fucking Mickie James, the Knockouts champion a year ago in the Women's Rumble. There was talk at one point that maybe Kairi, the IWGP Women's Champion, would get an invite to be in the Rumble. I've heard nothing about that since. I don't think that's happening, but they're going to have to find a way to get bodies in this match. Here's 2 right here. So Tegan fought her way out of a chin lock. Xia caught her with a thrust to the throat. Both women traded strikes, and then Xia landed an overhead suplex. Xia tried for her cyclone kick, but Tegan moved out of the way and then landed the shiniest wizard and pinned Xia for the win. This was not much of a match. The fans did not care. You can pretty much take that sentence and use that as boilerplate for a lot of different matches here. It's women's matches that we see on SmackDown, right? No heat. People didn't care. There it is. But here's the thing. The only way to try to get people to care about these women is to get them more reps on TV. So if we don't see Tegan Nox but every few weeks, if we don't see Xia Li maybe once every few months, yeah, of course, they're not going to get over. And Xia is just in a position right now where clearly Vince McMahon Vince McMahon never even used Xia Li once, and then we wouldn't see her for 4 months. Triple H, we've seen Xia Li more, a little bit more, but she's still used as jobber fodder on this show. But if you want to establish these women, if you want to establish Tegan Nox, then she has to find a story and you have to get her on TV every week. I said the same thing with AEW when it came to people like Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Action Andretti got a big win over Chris Jericho. What does it mean, right? If he shows up once and then we don't see him again. You've got to get these people reps on TV. It's no different here with these women. The problem is these women are ice cold and 2-minute matches are not going to do them any good. I don't see how that benefits anybody. We got exclusive footage from WWE Digital. Post-show after SmackDown last week when Drew McIntyre and Sheamus lost to the Usos, what we did not see is that the Viking Raiders came out, they attacked Sheamus and McIntyre and left them laying. So that then led into a brand new vignette. Off in the woods somewhere, there was a fire burning with the Viking Raiders and Valhalla, and Valhalla did the talking, and she said that Sheamus and McIntyre would suffer. So apparently Valhalla is going to force them to watch Monday Night Raw. We come back live. McIntyre and Sheamus are in the back with Adam Pearce. McIntyre told Pearce that he wanted the Viking Raiders tonight. Sheamus had a different idea. He said that, well, that's okay, but I want the Usos tonight. We need to get our rematch tonight. And they started shopping. This was very much like the segment they did from Lawler's Bar and Grill last week when they were being all chummy and friendly, but they were chopping each other and smacking each other with increasing levels of intensity as they rattled off all of their accomplishments. So it was similar here. They went back and forth. They were chopping each other, but in a friendly way. Pierce said that next week he is starting a tag team tournament. And the winners of this tag team tournament are going to challenge the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And in the first round match next week, they can have the Viking Raiders. So we had the Tag Team Turmoil Gauntlet on Raw Monday night. That the Judgment Day won. And now we have a tag team tournament that's going to kick off next week with the winners getting a shot at the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Now, I really think there's a chance that they're going to split these titles. And we're going to get Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio as the new Raw Tag Team Champions. Assuming that Dominic is the one who is in the title match, because Dominic was a replacement for Finn Balor, who was in the gauntlet, but had to be pulled because he got hurt. Storyline injury. I would much rather, frankly, I mean, I like Balor, but I would much rather see Dominic be partners with Priest. And if they're going to go all the way with it, Dominic Mysterio wins the Raw Tag Team title. But it's possible that Balor will simply get the spot back. But I think there's a real chance that they could change those Raw Tag Team titles. Now, I don't hate the idea of giving the Judgment Day, like Dominic and Priest, the Raw Tag Team titles. I don't hate it, but I would not do it. You're so close to WrestleMania. The Usos have been the undisputed tag team champions now for months. Same situation with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has been the undisputed unified champion now for almost a year. We are this close to WrestleMania. And there's a very good chance that Roman Reigns, if he wrestles Cody Rhodes, let's say, and not The Rock, is going to lose his titles at WrestleMania. It would be foolish with Roman Reigns to have anybody beat him before he drops the Universal Championship, whether it be at WrestleMania or whenever. The Universal title is the one that, that really is the one that kind of has the legacy run that he's on right now, 800 and something days. That's with the Universal title, not the WWE title. But Roman Reigns has not been pinned. He has not been beaten since 2019. So when he finally gets pinned, that has to be the moment that he drops both championships. You're not going to beat him before you get to WrestleMania. That would be stupid. Same thing with the Usos. You're so close. You're this close to WrestleMania. The story is clearly building to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn challenging the Usos for the tag team titles. Does it hurt the story if the Usos lose only the SmackDown tag team titles to them and not the Raw? It doesn't kill the story, but that means you have to beat the Usos before WrestleMania. I would not do that. I don't think that beating the Usos is something that should happen until you get to WrestleMania. There's just no reason. You've waited this long. There's no reason now. You may as well just wait. You may as well hold out. They may have a storyline purpose, though, for splitting these titles. That's why I say it is possible. It is not impossible to conceive that they could be splitting the championships before WrestleMania, because there could be a storyline reason for it. It could have to do with Sami Zayn. If Sami Zayn inadvertently cost the Usos the match, let's say with the Judgment Day, and they lose the Raw Tag Team titles, it could play into the eventual downfall of Sami Zayn in the Bloodline. So there could be a storyline reason behind them doing it, but if it were me, it's not something that I would be doing right now. I just think that would be the wrong move for them to make. We got a new Bray Wyatt QR code heading into the commercial break that takes you to an old video of Bray in the Firefly Funhouse a few years ago. This was before one of the Hell in a Cell. I don't know if it was the Hell in a Cell match with Rollins, that of which we will not speak. But it was from before one of the Hell in a Cell shows, where he said he was in the Firefly Funhouse and he said, "See you in hell," and he starts laughing. And then eventually he stops laughing and he kind of has this menacing look and he looks into the camera and he says, "Let me in," right? And then his face morphs into the Fiend's head. So that's what the QR code takes you to. So they are teasing that the Fiend is going to be coming back. My guess would be, if we see the Fiend, it would be at the Royal Rumble. So after the break, Bray got his full entrance. So I'm being told it was before Hell in a Cell 2019. "See you in hell" was a lot truer than I thought. So that was before his Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins then. So Bray got his full entrance. He came to the ring for another promo. They showed highlights of Uncle Howdy or Harper, whoever it was, last week when Uncle Howdy came to the ring. Bray was already in the ring having a confrontation with LA Knight. Uncle Howdy got in the ring and he ended up turning on Bray. He gave Bray the Sister Abigail. So that's what happened last week. In the ring, there was a rocking chair. The old Bray Wyatt rocking chair. And the whole arena was dark and there was a spotlight on the rocking chair. And Bray took a seat in the rocking chair. He said, "Green Bay, we're here." And they cheered because, again, you say anybody's city, they're going to cheer, right? If you're in Green Bay, yay, he said Green Bay. You know, if you come to New York and you say, hey, you know, New York City, everybody's going to cheer. Hell yeah, fuck yeah. He said New York City, right? If you go anywhere, doesn't matter where you are in this country, if you say the name of the town, if you say the name of the city, it is an easy way to get a very cheap pop on this show. So, of course, they were all very happy that Bray mentioned Green Bay. He says, ain't it wild how sometimes we forget who we are and what it is that made us in the first place? He said, all it takes is a little push to send you in the right direction. And all of a sudden, all you had to do all along is just revel in what you are. And just like that, it comes back to him, right? He says he remembers all the things that he's lost. He says, I am the color red in a world full of black and white. He says that he is the eater of worlds, and people popped for that one. Remember when he used to be the eater of pins? Remember that whole phase? The eater of pins, Bray Wyatt? I still remember all those years ago. Somebody put together on YouTube, and they took it down. A video. It's so great. I talked about this on the podcast like 7 or 8 years ago. God, how long have I been doing this fucking show for? But it was all these clips of those very creepy Bray Wyatt promos, right? Of him talking about how, from all of his feuds, about how he was going to take down John Cena. He was going to take down Randy Orton. He was going to take down The Undertaker. He was going to beat all these different people. Kane, right? All these different people. And then immediately after each clip, the person spliced in an, video of him being pinned, of him being dumped out of the ring like garbage in the Royal Rumble. And I dubbed him the Eater of Pins. Because that's what he was. That's, the mystique. It's hard to maintain the mystique of a character like that if they fucking lose all the time. And every time they promise that they're going to win, they go in there and they lose, which is what they did with Bray Wyatt for so long. Which is why it drove Bray Wyatt absolutely insane. And then he ended up becoming the Fiend because he couldn't stand the booking. He was constantly losing. It would drive you to madness as well. Anyway, he called himself the Eater of Worlds. He said that he is Uncle Howdy. I don't think he meant that literally, but he said, I am Uncle Howdy. And he says that I am him or he is I, whatever the fuck it was. But he said that I am Bray Wyatt. The people cheered, and he says he knows who he is, but who are you? He said at the Royal Rumble, it will be his true rebirth, a baptism in the dark. And as for LA Knight, he goes, know this, son. When the lights go out, you should run. And the lights went out, screen went black. I would say that this was Bray's most forceful promo of the promos that he has done since he has come back, even though he still suffers from the same problem of when it's over, I just feel like he is saying the same stuff over and over and over again. I know the words are a little bit different, but he is effectively, it feels like saying the same shit over and over again every single week. These promos are just running together. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. It was well delivered, but again, that's the biggest problem I have with these Bray Wyatt promos right now, is that there's just not enough there to really differentiate them. And because they have so much time between now and this pitch black match at the Royal, we still haven't seen him wrestle yet on TV. So you just get these promos every single week, and there's just not enough there to really differentiate them. But this one was more forceful than the other ones that he has done so far. But, you know, I was thinking, you know, there was so much made this week about all of the controversy with WWE and all the behind-the-scenes stuff that was going on. And Tuesday night, people were going out of their minds talking about a potential sale. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, I can't wait. I can't wait. If the Saudis end up buying WWE, I can't wait to go from Uncle Howdy to Uncle Saudi. Get ready, folks. This is going to be the next chapter of the story. Boy, I can't wait. I can't wait to see Uncle Saudi coming soon to SmackDown. That's going to be something else. To the back, Kayla Braxton introduced Kevin Owens, but they were immediately interrupted by Sami Zayn. And Sami asked Kevin Owens if he was happy with everything that he has done. Are you happy with what you've done here? Owens said that, look, I was on Raw, right? Basically, like, I'm minding, you like that, huh? I'm on Raw, I'm minding my own business, and the Bloodline keeps interfering in my show. They keep attacking people on Monday Night Raw. That's not my fault. He goes, did I ask for this tonight? Did I ask for John Cena to be my tag team partner to wrestle you and Roman? He goes, this is not my fault. This is Roman Reigns. This is what Roman wanted. And he said, Roman is using you. And Sami said that Roman is not using him. How many times does Owens have to see them all hugging and getting along and everything's cool? He goes, tonight I've got to handle business. And he said, I'll see you out there. And Owens wished him good luck. You like our new friend, everybody? There he is. Uncle Saudi. I think Uncle Saudi is already over here in the chat. Hey, shout out to Dr. Dakota Scorpio, who just gifted a channel membership to Sports and Things Shows, the lucky recipient of Dakota's new membership. So congrats to him. Thank you, Dakota. Look at Uncle Saudi. Amazing. Amazing. Could still happen. Kayla was backstage with Gunther and Imperium in the trainer's room. Gunther had an ice pack. He was nursing his injuries. And he said he was very proud of vanquishing Braun Strowman here tonight. The biggest challenge yet here during his run as the Intercontinental Champion. He said, but now it is time to go on to the Royal Rumble and throw body after body out over the top rope off of our sacred mat. And that way he can end up where he truly belongs, which is in the main event of WrestleMania. I, for one, would love to see Gunther in the main event of WrestleMania. So Gunther is officially in the Royal Rumble match, and as I said at the beginning of the stream, I wonder if we get that face-off in the Rumble match between him and Brock Lesnar, because I absolutely believe that Brock will be in the Royal Rumble match, whether he's a surprise or he shows up on TV between now and then. I would save him as a surprise. But I wonder if we get the showdown between him and Gunther, because there has been talk that that is the match penciled in for WrestleMania, that it supposedly is not Gunther defending the Intercontinental title against Sheamus, but it's Gunther against Brock Lesnar. And if that's the match that we're going to get, then the kickoff to that might well be in the Royal Rumble match. We could have Gunther eliminating Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble, right? When Drew McIntyre eliminated Brock Lesnar 3 years ago in the Rumble, it led to them having a match at WrestleMania. So it could very well be that we get our first face-to-face between them in the Rumble match. Liv Morgan against Raquel Rodriguez. Big Neff. You know, Big Neff, I laugh, but you're not wrong. Big Neff says, Gunther gets an F5, 1, 2, 3. I have flashbacks to the match with Samoa Joe. That's exactly what happened back in 2017? Is that 2016 or 2017? I think 2016. Great Balls of Fire. That's the risk you run when you step into the ring with Brock Lesnar. Everybody's like, oh, what a match, right? You're going to be Gunther and Brock Lesnar. What a great match that would be. It could be, but my fear is that it goes the way that most Brock Lesnar matches go, which is that we get a 3 or 4 minute match. He gives him one F5, and he pins him. And to me, what a fucking waste of Gunther that would be at WrestleMania. Which is why I would rather have Gunther have a great match with Sheamus and drop the Intercontinental title to Sheamus. That should be the WrestleMania match. Because I worry about that exact same thing. We'll get maybe 5 minutes at the most. F5, 1, 2, 3. What an injustice that would be. We have Liv Morgan against Raquel Rodriguez. The story is that Liv is crazy. She's loco. Raquel tossed her over the top rope to show that this is what I'll do to you in the Royal Rumble. Liv snapped. She started smashing her own head into the turnbuckles to show that she's nuts. She hit sort of a code breaker. She sent Raquel over the top rope using a running lariat. Just like the match with Mox. At least the match with Ambrose or WrestleMania, it wasn't a long match. It had some length to it. It was a competitive match, but yeah, I mean, kind of a similar thing. That was a very disappointing match because Brock didn't want to really do anything outside of his comfort zone. Remember Moxley said he was suggesting all of these crazy things that they could do. I think he wanted to do a thumbtack spot or something, or I don't know if it was thumbtacks or barbed wire. And not even necessarily that Brock would be the one to go through it, but just Brock didn't want to hear it. I guess Brock already knew he was going back to UFC and did not want to injure himself. But there have been matches that Brock Lesnar has been programmed in with some new opponents over the years that I've been excited to see. And then, you know, a lot of times the match comes and goes and it's like, man, that was disappointing. And I would hate for Gunther to go in there in his first big WrestleMania match. It would be a high-profile match for him, but I would hate for him to go in there. We know what he can do in the ring, right? We know, and on a big stage like WrestleMania, to go in there and have, you know, a 4-minute stinker would be such a waste. It all depends on how motivated Brock is to want to work with him. If Brock likes you and he's motivated, he could go in there and have as great of a match as he wants to have. But does he want to do business with Walter? I mean, that's the question. I don't know. So Raquel pulled Liv to the floor. Liv sent her into the ring post and then into the steel steps. But Liv, after that, walked around to the far side of the ring. And she pulled out a table from underneath the ring. And of course, everybody cheered because the second best thing they love, outside of having their city name mentioned, is seeing tables, right? They love tables. So she pulls a table out from under the ring. She sets Raquel up across the table. And she heads up to the top rope. We've seen her do this before. She usually does that senton off the top. But before she could do anything, Raquel rolled off the table, which instantly made her a heel in this match. Got back in the ring, so we never got the table spot. Liv dove at Raquel, but she kind of swatted her out of the way, and then she muscled up Liv for the Tejana bomb, and she pinned her. I have no idea why they went through all the trouble to set up that table spot, and then they didn't do it. I have no idea why they did that. Unless they're saving the payoff for next week, I don't know why they did that. We got highlights of Charlotte Flair beating Sonya Deville last week in an impromptu match for the SmackDown Women's title. Back live, Sonya was in the back with her old colleague, Adam Pearce, and made it clear that she wants a rematch with Charlotte for the title, and he told her that, look, you did the same thing that Charlotte Flair did, okay? Charlotte Flair showed up, she called her shot, she got her impromptu match with Ronda Rousey, and she won. And the difference is you did the exact same thing last week. You went out there, you called your shot, you got an impromptu match with Charlotte Flair, only you lost. And Sonya said, well, look, what am I going to have to do here? Am I going to have to win the Royal Rumble match? And he said, yeah. Actually, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. And this was unacceptable to Sonya Deville, who said that she was going to find a way to make that rematch official. And we found out what she meant by that a little while later after the break, because they cut to the back, and she and Charlotte were brawling around a bunch of equipment crates in the back. I don't know what they would have been doing there. I don't know why they would have even been in that area with all of the equipment crates. It's possible that maybe Charlotte was offering her assistance to some of the production people because she didn't have a match on this show, and she said, hey, you guys need some help? The champ doesn't have a match tonight. And they said, sure. Maybe you can help us carry some shit to the truck. I don't know. But Sonya found her, and they started brawling over there, and they had to be separated. Then we got the same Cody Rhodes video package they aired on Monday night. This one was showing the torn pec and the highlights of his surgery and him questioning himself and wondering if, he can make it back and if he can be the same performer he was before. It's a very well done video package, but if you saw it on Monday, it's the exact same thing they aired. Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn was our main event. Zayn caught Owens with a dive to ringside. Owens recovered and threw Sami into the barricade. Zayn took over with a brainbuster onto the ring apron as they cut to the break. After the break, Owens got a frog splash for a near fall. After that, he tried for a pop-up powerbomb. Sami, though, avoided it. Caught him with a blue thunder bomb for a near fall of his own. They traded shots. Sami got the double arm capture into an overhead exploder suplex and dropped Owens right on the back of his head. And Owens, you could see, had a kind of a bloody cut. Nothing major. It wasn't like he was busted open or anything like that, but he had a bloody cut on his forehead. So both men were down heading into the final ad break. When they came back, Owens was on top. He went for the Swanton bomb. Sami, though, got the knees up. He covered him for a near fall. Sami got him on top. He tried for a superplex. Owens, though, turned it into a fisherman buster from the middle rope. Owens took some time covering him. When he finally did, though, Sami waited until 3.01 to kick out, or as I like to call it, the Kurt Angle kick out. They started trading shots from their knees. Eventually, they got back up to their feet, still trading blows. Another exploder from Sami Zayn. Owens, though, came right back. Sami gave him another one. That was the third one. Third time he dropped Owens on his head here in this match. Sami went to the corner. He was setting up for the haluva kick. He seemingly had victory in hand. Set up for the haluva kick. But all of a sudden, out from the crowd come the Usos and Solo Sikoa. And they attack Kevin Owens in the corner. The referee calls for the disqualification. And Sami Zayn could not believe it. He could not believe that these men just interfered in a match that he had well in hand. He had this shocked look on his face. Usos hit Owens with the 1D. They threw him out of the ring. They cleared off the announce desk. Owens tried to fight back, but Solo hit him with the Samoan spike. They laid him across the announce table. Sami tried to explain to the Usos. He said, look, the tribal chief, he sent me to take care of business. And the Usos said, don't worry about it. You did good. And they all put their fingers up for the Bloodline salute. Meanwhile, Solo ran across the barricade and did a huge leaping splash down onto the announce desk, collapsing Kevin Owens through the announce desk. And Sami looked on with a concerned look on his face. And to close out the show, Sami held his finger up with the rest of the Bloodline. But you could see the hesitation on his face. And that is how they went off the air. The DQ finish was part of the story. I get that. And I don't know that I necessarily expected a clean finish coming into this show. I was kind of hoping we would get one. I don't know if I actually expected one. But it's a shame because these two were well on their way to having not even well on their way. They were having an excellent match. And then you had the lame DQ finish. But obviously it plays into the story. That look of concern on Sami's face, that is going to be a focal point of next week's TV. And Owens and Reigns are going to have their contract signing next Friday for their match at the Royal Rumble. So similar to last week, it was really the participants in the Bloodline story. And we didn't get very many of them this week. It was really Owens and Zayn. The Usos and Solo Sikoa only ran out at the very end. There was no Roman Reigns on the show tonight. But it was the participants in the Bloodline story that really carried the show. And we got a great main event. The rest of the show, I thought, overall, was pretty weak. There's just not a whole lot to get excited about right now when it comes to the Royal Rumble. On the SmackDown side, when you remove the Bloodline from the equation. And that's going to be a problem. The closer we get to the conclusion of this storyline, of this Bloodline story, I keep saying it. I hope Triple H has something in mind, or maybe they're going to have a draft and they're going to shake up the rosters, and he'll be able to have the roster that he wants because he has yet to have a draft of his own. I hope he's got some kind of plan for this show, or maybe he just plans on keeping the Bloodline stuff going, even if they lose their titles. Maybe the Bloodline is simply going to continue on, and it'll evolve into another chapter of the story. Because I would hate to lose the whole dynamic here, but once Sami Zayn either leaves or is kicked out of the group, this Bloodline stuff, it's not going to be the same. So I think it has a short shelf life at this point. They have squeezed as much out of the sponge. I think they're almost at the point where they've squeezed as much out of it, I think, as they're going to get. They've gotten more out of the storyline than anybody could have expected, but there is a shelf life for it. And I hope that they have a plan for what to do when it's over. Now, I did, as I was preparing here to go live, I did manage to watch the opening match on Rampage, which was Darby Allin defending his TNT title against Juice Robinson. I thought it was a good match. They gave Juice a lot of offense, but in the end, Darby came back, hit the coffin drop, and Sting came out after the match to celebrate with him. So that was the opener of the show. I did see the footage on social media. I know when Max Caster came out to do his rap. It's a good thing Rampage was taped this week. Last week it was live, but they taped it on Wednesday. When Caster came out to do his rap, he lost his train of thought. He fucked the whole rap up. And they cut the music and he went to the back and they did the whole thing all over again. He came back out and he redid. I'm sure on television it was seamless tonight. But it would have been funny if that was live. Airing that way, but I did see the rap on social media. So anyway, that's all I've seen so far of Rampage. I will catch up with it tomorrow, and I will have any additional thoughts on the podcast on Sunday. Let's take a look at the SmackDown poll for Friday the 13th. 58% thumbs up, 26.6% thumbs in the middle, and 15.4% thumbs down. So at Solomonster, thank you to all of my new followers that have jumped on the bandwagon here this week. If you are not on the bandwagon, go ahead and hitch yours. Hitch your wagon to mine, and I shall take you to the promised land. Whatever that means. Isn't that right, Uncle Saudi? Isn't that right? I love my uncle. Ruby Soho got busted wide open. Poor Ruby, my God. This woman can't catch a break. Well, hopefully if she got hurt, hopefully it's not serious. I swear, it's always something with her. There's always something going on with Ruby Soho. Before it was the broken nose. Before that, it was something else. Man. This woman just cannot catch a break. All right, let's check out your super chats. We begin here with Queen Fire Panda. $10 super chat. Says, Solomonster taking us to the World Series. Is that the promised land, Uffman? No, I can't get World Series tickets, unfortunately. Fire Panda says, so Vince is back. Steph is gone. The company may sell to Saudi Arabia. Some talent are reportedly ready to walk. Apparently there is a lawsuit against Vince McMahon, and it is only January. Welcome to 2023. Yes, this is quite the opening to the year. Winter's Paw with the $2. Tony Khan better not buy WWE or else I'm done. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, man, I would be a rich man. I wouldn't have to stream anymore. Winter's Paw with a $10 super chat says, it's funny listening to Meltzer and Cornette talk about Bray since his return. They sound so disgusted at the fact that he is so much more popular than any of their favorites. Why the resentment? Well, I mean, with Cornette, I would just imagine that he's not into all the spooky shit, right? He's probably completely turned off by that. Meltzer, I don't think Meltzer's ever liked Bray. I don't think Meltzer thinks that Bray is good. I don't think he thinks he's a good wrestler. So, you know, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. If that's how they feel, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Shin Superkick Akuma, thank you for the super chat. God of Seduction with the $2. Mansoor is taking the belts off of Roman Reigns. Told you, it's Mansoor. Mansoor. Chris Miner with the $9.99. Buy or sell on which in-ring bloodline segment was better. Sami Zayn getting a new t-shirt, or Jay saying that he didn't care what the tribal chief says and everybody breaking. Those, you know, it's tough because those were two of the best television segments all year in any promotion. But I have to go with Sami cracking up the bloodline. I don't know that there was anything better all year than that. Jessica Herman, first super chat. When does Sami get beat down? Not until after the Royal Rumble. Could be Elimination Chamber, but it's not going to be until after the Royal Rumble. JWD82X with the $5 super chat. For me, wrestling in the ring is good, especially in AEW, but I feel like there isn't enough storyline that really makes me want to watch week to week. Well, that's why it is good to have different options, and that's why it's good to have WWE if you don't like AEW, and if you like AEW and don't like WWE, then it's good that you have that as an option. That's why it's good to not have a monopoly, which is one of the reasons why the Khan family, all this talk about the Khan family buying WWE, which is not going to happen. I mean, it makes for a good talking point, and I'll talk about it on Sunday, but it's not going to happen. But whatever you think of Tony Khan and how he would treat WWE, and he's a real fan and all that, you don't want all of your major wrestling companies in this country to fall under the same ownership umbrella, because that is a terrible thing. That would be terrible for the wrestling business. No different than when WCW went away and we only had WWE, right? You don't want to have just one entity. You don't want to have just one owner. You want to have many different ones, like having all 30 sports teams in one league, right? Instead of one. Always better to have options. Nobody's asking for a monopoly. I don't see how that benefits the wrestling business. Nasir Alexander, $4.99. I would be shocked if Vince McMahon is not back in creative by the end of the year. You're giving them more credit, but the end of the year. How about the end of the month? Rodimus Prime, happy Friday. Who is one wrestler that you hated growing up but have an appreciation for now that you are older? Have to think about that. When I was growing up, I'm trying to think who I hated. I had an appreciation for a lot of those guys I grew up watching. You had your Hogans and your Savages and your Warriors, but you had Jake Roberts. I like Jake. I like the $1 Million Man. I like Mr. Perfect. We go into like the mid-90s wrestler that I have a better appreciation for now. I ended up gaining a better appreciation for Shawn Michaels than I had originally when I first started watching him. I mean, does he count? I mean, he only went on to become one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, I mean, Triple H might be another good option. I didn't really care for Triple H at the beginning, honestly. I never saw him as a main event guy. I didn't really care for him. Over time, I've gained more of an appreciation for him and the kind of heel that he was. Yeah, I might go with Triple H. Triple H might be a good answer to that. Joseph Brooks with a $9.99. Cherish, keep, borrow, sell. On all of these stages of Brock Lesnar's career. His early run from 02 to 04. His UFC career. his tweener heel run from 2014 to 2020, and his babyface run from 2021 to the present. I mean, you gotta sell the UFC career, because I don't really give a shit about that. I love his early run from 02 to 04, but I also love the heel run when he first came back. I would say 2012 to like 2015, maybe around that period of time. I might put that at number 2. The current run, babyface Farmer Brock, has been pretty fun. But the UFC career, I'd put that at the bottom. I don't really care about that. Not today, Jay. I'm going to tell you the same thing that I told JD. I believe that Edge comes back on Monday and costs Judgment Day the tag team title. We don't even know when the tag team title match is going to be. It may be on Monday. Have they announced it for Monday? I haven't heard them announce that yet. But Edge is due back. He is due back any week now. There's talk about him and Balor having a Hell in a Cell match at the Royal Rumble, so you are probably right. I think that's actually a very predictable outcome, frankly, is that Edge would get involved and he would cost them the tag team titles, and that would lead to Edge against Balor at the Royal Rumble. So if they're going to do it, Monday would make sense because they only have 2 weeks left. But I don't think they've officially announced when that match is actually taking place. He also says, I believe that they do get Rock for WrestleMania. Have KO and Roman in the main event because nobody in both Rumbles will get a bigger pop than The Rock. He's talking about the Rumble pay-per-view. Miles Marable, better all-time heel, Edge, Randy Orton, or Triple H? I'm inclined to go Triple H of those 3. Armchair Critic, Mount Rushmore of WWE, Mike. I hate these Mount Rushmore questions. I don't hate you, Armchair Critic, but you can imagine the number of emails and Mount Rushmore questions I've gotten. And I'm almost positive I've talked about the best mic workers before. If you're talking WWE, you want to have The Rock on that list. I don't see how you don't have Roddy Piper on that list. There's so many different options. I always liked Steve Austin as a promo, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought he was a great promo. Macho Man he was in a league of his own. He was just so unique and so much fun to watch. I love all those backstage promos with Mean Gene, Cream of the Crop, and all those. So you got to put those guys on there. I wouldn't put Flair on there because the real kind of memorable work that Flair did on the stick was not in WWE. It was prior to that, working for the NWA. Fire Panda says, make Uncle Saudi a super chat, please, and thank you. All right, maybe we'll do that. Who wants to see Uncle Saudi as a random super chat? Or should we put a dollar amount on it? What do you think? What do you guys think? God of Seduction, Uncle Saudi super. Oh, apparently we have a lot of people who want Uncle Saudi to be a regular here. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, I can't take Uncle Howdy serious now, thanks. I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time. We're going to go from Uncle Howdy to Uncle Saudi. Reagan Pawsey with the $2 super chat. The Rock to win the 2023 Royal Rumble? Are you asking me, do I want to see that or do I think it's going to happen? Because I say no on both. Cody Rhodes will and should win the Royal Rumble. Josiah Ball, what's up, Solomonster? I'm ready for tomorrow, the first playoff game, and congrats on being the new commissioner in Hog. Well, thank you very much. King Bling Blah, under Triple H Creative, Fiend against Demon. Are you interested? No. Doesn't do any. Honestly, I don't really have any need to see the Demon Balor back for a long time. I like what Balor is doing right now with the Judgment Day. There's no need to get all hokey and cartoony with it. Mr. Ruby Dog, longer career, Shawn Michaels or Cien Michaels? I'm old enough to remember when they would indeed spell it Shawn Michaels, S-E-A-N. But it didn't last very long. I'm almost positive in one of the video games they spelled it that way too. I could be wrong. Anti-M Bishop 07 with the $10 super chat. Evening Solomonster. No spoilers, but the ladies' tag team street fight on Rampage is must-see. Beautiful violence. SmackDown was meh. And heard Impact Hard to Kill was an okay show as well. Not a bad Friday. Did Impact have another Friday pay-per-view? Up against SmackDown and Rampage. They've done this before, and I don't understand the logic behind it. I didn't even know that the Hard to Kill show was tonight. I thought it was this weekend. Sam Dankman Weed with the $10 super chat. Hog scenario. Charles Manson corners Masha in the ring. Solo Missioner comes out with a mic. You like threatening a woman? Come over here and threaten me. P.S. John Wesley Shipp played the Flash on TV. We were having a discussion about that on the stream the other night. Who was the actor who played the Flash in the 90s TV show? I am not accepting any creative ideas, Sam, but thank you. Thomas Rondon with the $5 super chat. The Saudis better not buy WWE. I would not give them any of my money, and I hope a lot of Americans would too. Well, Thomas is going to be very upset to find out how many American companies have Saudi investments. Don't tell Thomas. We'll talk about all the Saudi bullshit on the podcast on Sunday. And how that story spread like wildfire on social media. It was not one of the better nights, I think, for wrestling fans or wrestling media for that matter. Brumakian Productions. $5 super chat here coming in late. Later this year, I'm considering becoming a wrestler. Is Hog hiring? I want to work my way up until I land in either WWE or AEW. Well, it's not a matter of hiring. There is a school. And if you want to learn from the Amazing Red, you will not find very many people better than him to learn from. So if you go to hogwrestling.net, you'll find information there on the school. If you're serious about it, I would definitely look into it. And he is the person to learn from. Rocky Road has been a channel member for 3 months. Says, glad to be a member of this channel, and I'm grateful for all that you do. Thank you for keeping me entertained on a weekly basis. Well, Rocky Road, you are very welcome. And I thank you for your membership. Juan Ocampo says, congrats to McAfee and his new sponsor, Bud Light. Yeah, we should be seeing Pat McAfee back very soon. Now that his college game day responsibilities, I think, are either over or they should be winding down right now. Love Lie, thank you for the $4.99. Hey, Don Juan is joining us here, one of our channel members. Love Lie with the $4.99. You like threatening women? Well, here, smoke a whole carton of cigarettes. JWD says, not wrestling related. Did you see the Evil Dead trailer? I have not seen the Evil Dead trailer, no, but I did just watch a really good movie on Netflix called The Good Nurse. If anybody is interested in a thriller type movie, there's really no action in the movie, but it's based on a true story, which frankly makes it even scarier. But look into it. It's called The Good Nurse. It's on Netflix. I thought it was very good. But Don Juan, thank you. He just became a channel member. And Thomas says, the way that you announce your new HOG role, I see the Lucha Underground influence. Well, that's what we're going for here in 2023. We have the wrestling, but what we're trying to do is really, differentiate ourselves from any other promotion, independent promotion, certainly. There's nobody else doing this type of stuff, and you'll see more of it as the year plays out. But there's some cool stuff that's been filmed, and I'm sure there's more to come. But yes, the Lucha Underground influence is something that other people have mentioned, and there's a reason for that, because that's kind of the vibe that we're going for. James, yes, I would say that the nurse was good. Anti-M Bishop says, HOG, please book SAT's Amazing Red against the Elite. The streets need it. Only if it happens in HOG, not in AEW. We got to have that action here in New York. Joey says Alamo Dome set the attendance record with 68,323. Let's see WWE try to break that. Well, they will not be breaking that at the Royal Rumble, because I think they only have the building opened up maybe for 45,000, 45 or 50. Don Juan with the $4.99 says, I'm back. Hello, everybody, and hi to Fire Panda if she is still here. I missed you. Well, that's nice. DEH Sires with the $1.99. How is WWE going to look in December of 2023? Dude, we're only in January. I have no fucking idea. Look at what's happened in the first 13 days of this year. We're not even 2 weeks into this year. Look at what's happened. Who the hell knows? Who knows who's going to be running WWE at the end of this year? Maybe I'll keep working my way up the corporate ladder. I may be running WWE by the time this year is over. You better be nice to me. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, is there going to be kidnapping involved in Hog? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, I guess, right? Joseph Brooks with the super chat does Montez Ford reminds you more of a more athletic Shelton? First of all, Shelton Benjamin is maybe the most gifted, like physically, naturally gifted athlete that WWE has ever had, like in his prime. And even now, he's still great. And he looks the same. And he's 47 years old, which just is crazy to me. Montez Ford is very athletic. I don't know that I would say he's more athletic than Shelton, though. You're not going to find too many people who in their prime are more athletic than Shelton Benjamin. But Montez Ford is very good. All right, I believe you guys have smashed the goal for tonight. The goal was 350, and we're a little over 400, so I thank you. Keep hitting that like button, by the way, if you haven't already done so, because it does help the video out quite a bit. But let's do it. Let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Let us do some Be the Booker. I know you guys have been looking forward to this, so I will not keep you waiting any longer. We are going to get right into it here. We're going to start with the men's Be the Booker. We got 3 matches to book here. Hey, Corey Blake, thank you for the $2. Says, happy birthday to the great Shad Gaspard. Happy birthday to Shad. I did not know today was his birthday, so happy birthday to Shad. The man died a hero. We begin with... We go from Shad Gaspard to the Gobbledygooker. And then I pop up on screen And I'm dancing on top of the Gooker's head. The Gobbledygooker. One-on-one with Vince McMahon. You know, Vince McMahon is responsible. This man right here is the one responsible for the Gobbledygooker. So it's only appropriate that they would wrestle each other. But I have no interest in seeing that match. They could wrestle each other somewhere else. Let them wrestle each other in Chikara. How about that? Vince McMahon and the Gobbledygooker. What was the match we had the other night? It was Kali against somebody. I wonder, I'm trying to debate which match is worse. Look at this. Vince McMahon couldn't stay away. Not only is he back in WWE, but now he's back in Be the Booker as well. This fucking guy. Unbelievable. There's the lady I like to see. Sensational Sherry Martel. A fine choice here to kick us off on the women's end of things. Sherry Martel. I do miss Sherry. Sherry was quite good back in her day. We've got Sherry going one-on-one with Cyndi Lauper. I respect her place in history, but Cyndi Lauper, I told you, she's one of those poison pills. We got them in Be the Booker. We got Dixie. We got Betty White. We got Cyndi Lauper. We got a few other ones. We got, what was that woman from the match with Sharmell? Sherry and Cyndi Lauper. Save us. Tag team wrestling is going to have to salvage this edition of Be the Booker here. This is not going well, guys. I don't know, man. I don't know. But here we go. We begin with the two-man power trip. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, draped in gold. This is from Backlash in 2001. That's how you kick things off here and Be the Booker. The two-man power trip. Taking on, oh my goodness. Oh my God. This right here is what Be the Booker is all about. This is what Fantasy Warfare is all about. Demolition. Axe and smash. Against the two-man power trip. There's a fucking match for you. That's a main event on any show. Two men who should be in the Hall of Fame and likely will not be. There you go. Demolition. Well, look, if Triple H is looking for a tag team to put in the Hall of Fame, then this is your guys right. I don't know what else to say. I'm tripping over myself. These are your guys right here. If he wants to have a female inductee, a tag team, international star, a celebrity, one deceased star, you know, they got their quotas they got to fill, right? Here you go. Here's your tag team. People say, oh, you know, they sued the company. They got in on the concussion lawsuit. I got news for you. They put other people in the Hall of Fame who have sued the company before. I don't buy that as an excuse. Put these men in the Hall of Fame where they belong. Cut the shit. Bobby's World just gifted a channel membership to Gene in the chat. Look at that. Gene now rocking that sweet green tag in the live chat. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby's World. Always good to hear from you. Bill Eadie should be in the Hall of Fame, and Barry Darsow, regardless, even if you put them in individually. My God, I mean, they've played so many roles over the years. You know, obviously Barry Darsow, you know, playing an evil Russian in the NWA before he became Demolition Smash. And then he had a bunch of gimmicks after that. You know, the Repo Man and Hole-in-One Darsow. Bill Eadie was the masked superstar. And, you know, you could just make the argument that even just from a singles perspective, they both belong in the Hall of Fame. But as a tag team, 3-time tag team champions in WWE, there's no reason for them not to be in there. Power Spy says they had Henry Godwinn on television in 2021, and he was also a part of that lawsuit. That's a very good point. So people love to use that as an excuse. It's like they committed the cardinal sin and they're just, erased from history. They're just like banished from the company. Give me a fucking break. If they want to put them in the Hall of Fame, they could put them in the Hall of Fame this year. I would prefer to see it before they die. They're not getting any younger. And Bill Eadie has had heart issues over the years. So it's just one of those things where they're going to wait, and they're going to wait, and they're going to wait, and then one day something tragic is going to happen, and it's going to be like, oh, they'll put them in posthumously. That's what they did with Randy Savage. We see how that went. We're getting Toni Storm against Willow Nightingale on Wednesday. I'm seeing that in the chat. If that is the case, that is very cool. I like Toni and I like Willow. A missed opportunity was not pairing Ted DiBiase with the Repo Man, because if you don't pay up, you get repoed. Pretty sure they did some tag matches together for some of those Coliseum videos. Yeah, I mean, Deputy Dog, look, we missed that on a Randy Savage speech in the Hall of Fame. How crazy would that have been? What would that speech have been like, right? We'll never know, because he died and then they put him in, but he wasn't there to accept the award. So that's part of the entertainment. Imagine the Macho Man taking the stage in that voice, talking about his career, thanking people or burying people. We never got to see it. We were deprived of it. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me and Uncle Saudi here on a Friday night. Dr. Dakota Scorpio says Uncle Saudi is an honorary GWO member here. GWO, I don't know what that is. But yes, thank you for hanging out with us here on a Friday night. We did not do the Monday Night Raw, first episode ever of Monday Night Raw Watch Along, but we are going to be doing it next week. I'm thinking we might just do it on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, which was the plan this week. But if I decide to bump it up by a day or two, I will let you guys know. Just with all the news that was going on this week and breaking, it was like nobody would have cared. I was like, it would have just been constant questions and comments about the Saudi Arabia stuff and Stephanie. And yeah, I just didn't want it to detract from focusing on this. So the plan is to push it back to this upcoming week, unless, of course, more news breaks, which I'm sure it will. But if you guys are around, we will be doing that watch along this week. Of course, episode 791 is going to be a packed show on Sunday. We got a lot to discuss. And I'm going to be talking about my Raw 30 top favorite matches / moments from 30 years of Monday Night Raw. It is Solomonster's 30 for 30. We're going to be doing that on episode 791 on Sunday as well. So I hope you will join me then. Be well, stay safe. Much love to all of you, and I will see you guys back here Sunday, but back here live on Monday night for the Monday Night Raw stream. So have a great weekend. Happy Friday the 13th, and I will see you guys then. Take care.
fuck Kevin Dunn.